the Trebia River was the first of series of Hannibal's major victories against the Roman Republic during the Second Punic War. After campaigning in Spain and southern Gaul, Hannibal unexpectedly crossed Alps and launched an invasion of Italy. After Roman consular army under Publius Cornelius Scipio learned of Hannibal's progress, it quickly mobilized troops in northern Italy, but was defeated at the Battle of the Ticinus, where Scipio was severely wounded. Petrified by the development, Senate ordered southern consular army in Sicily under Tiberius Sempronius Longus to join forces with Scipio. Let's look at the numbers now. Both armies were of similar size, with Romans having a slight edge. Hannibal's force consisted of approximately 8,000 light infantry, 20,000 heavier infantry, and 10,000 cavalry, including famous Numidians. 1/3 of his army was made up of his Gallic allies. Roman force was made up of 20,000 light infantry, 16,000 heavy infantry, and 4,000 cavalry. Quality of the Roman heavy infantry, forming the core of the army, was unmatched, but half of the Roman army was supplied by its Italian allies. These troops had varied equipment and were not as disciplined as the Romans. Hannibal was the one to choose the battlefield. First thing he did was to scout the terrain, especially the grassy area close to the river Trebia and the most likely crossing point for the Romans. Soon before the arrival of his enemies, he ordered 1,000 horsemen and 1,000 infantry to conceal themselves in the high grass. After the Romans arrived and constructed their camp, Hannibal sent his cavalry to harass them and provoke into action. Confusion quickly spread, and when Romans finally organized themselves to push back nimble horsemen, those were already returning to their camp. Still, their Roman counterparts followed despite being way less numerous, but to no avail. Soon after, the entire Roman army crossed Trebia River in a hurry to face the enemy. Consul Longus placed his best troops, Roman heavy infantry, in the center, and Italian allies along with his cavalry formed both wings. He also had a third line as a reserve. Hannibal placed his weakest force, Gallic allies, in the center and his experienced Carthaginians on the wings, along with numerous cavalry contingent. His plan was to drive Roman center deep into his formation and then destroy it by surrounding it, a tactic which became his signature move. The battle began with the charge of the Carthaginian cavalry against their Roman counterparts. Since being way less numerous, Roman cavalry were easily scattered, with Carthaginians chasing them from the battlefield. Then both armies finally clashed. Roman center, according to expectations, immediately began to push back Gauls, but both wings of the Carthaginians conversely pushed back Italian allies of the Romans. Finally, Roman heavy infantry shattered Hannibal's center and Gauls were running for the hills. But then something unexpected happened. Facing no enemies, Roman center had a great opportunity to strike the rear of Hannibal's wings, but instead, Roman infantry simply continued forward and left the battlefield. Upon reaching first villages, Roman center told everybody about the victorious battle, while the fight was still raging on. At the same time, Carthaginian cavalry returned and charged both surviving Roman wings, almost completely surrounding them. Reserve Roman line was also pinned down by the concealed force, which emerged from the high grass, surprising their enemies and ensuring no help was coming for struggling wings. Under great pressure and after a courageous struggle, both Italian allied formations disintegrated along with the last line still holding off the previously concealed Carthaginian force. The fight was over, and the battlefield was full of dead Roman bodies. Hannibal's plan worked almost perfectly, only the reserve line being an unexpected surprise. His knowledge of the enemy and careful selection of the battlefield granted him the victory. We should also not forget the discipline of Hannibal's Carthaginians, who precisely followed his orders and thus allowed for such a sound strategy. Reserve last line held off the Carthaginians for another couple of hours, but eventually it was overrun and large majority of the force was slaughtered. Despite being heavily defeated, it is worth mentioning Roman consul Longus was not an amateur when it comes to battle tactics, and most of his actions have justification in Roman strategy at the time. For Rome, the battle was a disaster, losing between 20 and 30,000 men and losing its invincibility status. Carthage lost around 5,000 men, mostly Gauls, that after the victory flocked under Hannibal's banner. As Battle of the Trebia opened a road to Rome for Hannibal, I will cover subsequent progress of Hannibal's Italian campaign. Any feedback for the video is much appreciated and feel free to suggest other battles as well.